etc. You know how it goes. Yo, what's up, gang? Checking in with the Poo-Tang clan. You-Tang Poo-Tang. Nothing to fuck with. You know how it is, you know where it be. Know how it goes, you know. To taste my pee. Gabagool. Hey. Touch your knees and eat my piss. It's another podcast of bliss. Oh, that was a really shit rhyme. Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the show. Did you know anything at all? No, because you're all stupid. You all got stupid brains in your stupid heads. And that's why I love you. I love you like I've had to adopt some stupid children that are dangers to themselves if they're left alone in the world. And so I've taken you all under my wing, and I have to teach you the ways of the world. And no, don't touch the stove, it's hot. No, don't eat the paint. That's mine. I eat the paint, you don't eat the paint. You fucks. You thieving little fucks. Only joking. The people that watch my videos are the smartest people in the world. You know, give or take a few everything. Do we have any Games Workshop / Warhammer fans watching? This one isn't specifically for you, but I mean it's sort of, you might get it a bit more if you're a fan of those, you know, Games Workshop and that whole finagle. That's not a word. There was a game called Gorka Morka way back in the day, in like 2000 and something. Let's Google. When was Gorka Morka made? 1997. Holy shit! To present, it's still active. That's insane. I haven't seen any trace of Gorka Morka in fucking decades. Literally decades. It was, so you've got the Warhammer fantasy battles, your knights and horses and, you know, orcs and goblins and giants and skeletons with swords and all kinds of fun shit. And then you got your Warhammer 40k, which is arguably the more popular one because it's got the Space Marines and the Tyranids and all the more orcs, but in space. Eldar, see, it's got like space elves, kind of. And that's the one that has all the video games made about it. There might be like Warhammer Fantasy video games, but I don't think so much. But then outside of that, or sort of within that, there's sort of almost mini games, almost like DLC kind of games, where it's like Necromunda, where it's in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, but it's like in these hive cities where it's densely built, populated, sci-fi dystopian cities, all vertically stuff, like vertical levels upon levels, like vertically built. And then you have gangs fighting each other in amongst, these ruined sci-fi hive cities. And so you have a gang and you fight other gangs. And there's a bunch of stuff. There's stuff like that in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, which I really like, where it's like you have a little war band that goes... Mordheim, I think it was called. Let me Google that. Is that what it's called? Mordheim. Yeah, Mordheim is a tabletop game published by Games Workshop. It's a variant of the company's Warhammer Fantasy game set on a warband or skirmish scale. Mordheim was blah 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 blah. But yeah, you like have a little warband, a little crew of misfits. You have like witch hunters and Skaven, the rat people. Those are cool, and you run around and towns and things as opposed to grand battlefields. And those are cool. Those were always more interesting to me than like the big games where you have big armies and it's all war never changes, etc. I always liked the sort of the more mini games where it's a bit more interesting, a bit more fun stuff. It's more, I don't know, smaller scale, more character based, and like the models were all individuals usually, because if you have a little warband, you have like, and you name them all. You have the big guy and the funny little guy, and then the tech guy or whatever, that sort of thing. It's just, I always preferred those sorts of games. Also, you didn't need 800 models to play them. You just needed like 12 or 20 or whatever. One of those games that came out at some point in 1997 apparently was called Gorka Morka. And it was all orcs, which is cool. But so there's the premise of it was the orcs were on what is known as a space hulk, which is like a giant fucking space freighter ship kind of thing, and it crashed. Oh my god, can't believe it! It crashed on like a desert planet, and then it's all the orcs got like split off into different crews and gangs. See, because there's two orc gods, there's Gork and there's Mork, not to be confused with the Robin Williams character Mork. I believe that's what they're called anyway. And so one load of orcs followed Mork and one followed Gork, and so they all went their own separate ways with their own gods or whatever, and they have gang fights in like a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland, and it's very, very Mad Max, because their settlements are like these cobbled together, corrugated tin and iron and wooden planks, and they build forts and stuff, and then they have vehicles that are very much the same, just bits torn off of other vehicles, and scrap and rubble and whatever else they can throw together to build these ramshackle dune buggies and things. And then you have buggies with like big spaces on the back for as many orcs as you can possibly fit into it. So they cram these buggies with orcs and then drive them through the desert to fight the other orcs. And it's all good fun, and everyone has fun and games fighting in the desert. But it really was like, I wasn't really aware of it so much back then, but now I'm more aware that it's very Mad Maxian in how it is, how it's sort of presented. But then within, whenever there's orcs, there's usually goblins in the Warhammer world. Depending on the particular intellectual property that you are dealing with, they're goblins or gobbos, or in this case grots. They were called grots in Gorka Morka. So orc war bands would have, or gangs or whatever, would have grots in amongst them that you could use as little, you have your orc boys, like 10 or 20 orcs with a boss at the front who's the big one, with massive like lower teeth and a big metal arm and stuff. And then you can have little grots running around as like fodder. You toss them in front of other people, or you have them on the back of things. You use them as weapons, whatever. But there are the rebel grots, which went off on their own and formed their own little war bands, which you could play as. There were other things. There was like mutant gangs that lived in the desert and other things. Yeah, so obviously, well, more so nowadays, but somewhat back then, I was drawn to the grots, the goblins. Sadly, back then, I was only a kid, so I wasn't in a position where I could really get into it properly. Like, I couldn't afford to, fork out for my own proper models or even, a copy of the game or whatever. But I enjoyed it as and when and where I could in the store where they let you play the games and things. But yeah, I always loved, and I loved the vibe of the game in general, because it's all, like I say, it's all cobbled together from scrap, and people's clothes are all like stitched from random bits of material, and wraps around their arms and legs, and patches here and there, and goggles and gas masks and shit. It's a really, really cool sort of vibe to the whole thing. And that's the sort of thing that, sometimes I think about buying like an old original Xbox, because mine, I did have one, but it fell apart many years ago now. And, I think about buying one just so I can play Jet Set Radio Future, because that's the only platform it's available to play on. They haven't made it available anywhere else. On PC, on Xbox, or whatever, you can't play Jet Set Radio Future fucking anywhere for some ungodly reason. And similarly, I do think about like, wow, what if I got hold of like a Gorkamorka set? Paint up all the little goblins and orcs and goblins, whatever I happened to be having at the time. Well, that'd be quite fun. But then it would be fun for a couple of minutes, and then, I wouldn't have anyone to play with because no one plays Gorkamorka anymore. So yeah, it'd be fun for a bit, but it would wear off pretty quick, I feel. But in amongst all of the carnage of the orc gangs fighting each other, there were a few like actual characters that cropped up. There were named characters, like in the rules of the game. There were named characters that you could like hire basically for your gang. They cost a certain amount of points or teeth, because T-E-E-F, because orcs pay for stuff with their teeth that fall out or that they take from other people. So yeah, you could hire these characters. There was one which was like, I can't remember his name, but he was like a scrap prospector. And so I love this idea of character and model as well, where you have the character with loads of shit piled on their back, like a backpack full of like chests and wraps and pots and pans and mugs and all kinds of shit. So there was like an orc character like that, which was really, really cool. Characters. And there was a goblin character, and he was called the Red Gobbo, or the Red Gobbo. Where is he? So I'm looking at a list now of characters. 40k orc units in Gorkamorka. Elites, fast attack, heavy support, flyers, Lords of War. Named characters. I love the names. Boss Snickrot, Boss Zagstruck, the Red Gobbo on Bouncer, Gazgul Thraka. He's a big name in orc history of 40k as it is. Mosrog Scragbad, that might be him. Fucking names. Who comes up with this shit? Well, fuck a bunch of weirdos. Nope, not him at all. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, there was the Red Gobbo, who was some like cool, badass looking goblin rebel. grot rebel, whatever. He had goggles and a big coat and a scarf and a big gun and maybe if I remember, which I may or may not. About 15 minutes in, maybe I'll put up a picture of the actual model of the red gobbo so you can see what he looks like. But yeah, fucking out of nowhere, really. I happened to see a picture of him, I think on Instagram or something, and I was like, oh shit! And that brought back all of this I'm talking to you about right now. All of these memories flooded back purely off of me seeing one picture of the red gobbo, and I was like, oh my god, Trembompoline. Simpsons reference. Oh, fuck this nose up. You can see what I was trying to do. Trying to like blend the green and the pink, but with Posca markers, that's hard. Either that or I'm just not very good at it. But regardless, fucking whatevs. But yeah, and it just, all these memories flooded back. And I realised how much I like really love the vibe of it all. And it does, it's got the post-apocalyptic feel, so it fits in with like the Fallout vibe kind of thing. It's one of those things that's like, man, if someone paid me to stay alive while I made it, I'd love to make like a Gorka Morka comic, because it's the stuff that's really fun to draw. Fucking orcs and guns and buggies going through the desert, and just like Tank Girl, which is basically what it stole the idea for Gun Viking, it's set in the desert, so you really don't have to draw much in the way of like scenery or backgrounds, and any backgrounds and scenery you do have to draw, it's all scrap built shanty towns and stuff, so those are like pretty fun to draw, and you don't have to stick to any rules of real like building structure or perspective or whatever, because if anything looks off, it's like, well, it's kind of supposed to look off because it's built out of fucking scrap, innit? I like that shit. Now, the typical, well, no, not typical, but the colour scheme shown on the officially painted model of the red gobbo, I guess the outside of his coat is red, which makes sense. But if you're looking at him from the front, most of what you see here is basically the inside of the coat, which has a black lining. But I'm not sure if I want to do black trying to fade it into red, or red trying to fade it into black. I think I'm going to do red at the top. I'm going to see how it goes. It might work, it might not. But with my Posca pens that are all about running out, they're coming out all watery because there's almost no paint left in them. Fuck. Even if I just did like a mini, like 10 to 20 little page comic of, Gorka Morka, like a little, I don't know, I'd have to pay some kind of attention to the story. You just have orcs fucking up some goblins, and then the red gobbo shows up and blasts the fuck out of all of them. And then disappears into the desert dust or something. Or then you have a bunch of orcs. They come upon a camp of rebel grots, and then they start fucking them up. And then silhouetted against the harsh desert sun, you see the red gobbo's little like jacket flapping in the wind, and then he jumps down and starts blasting the fuck out of all these orcs. And then the dust settles, and the few grots that are left are like, oh my god, thanks for saving us. Hey, you did a good job, boss. Thanks a lot for helping us out. Their funny little goblin language or whatever. And then, silhouetted against the harsh desert sun, maybe jacket flapping in the wind or whatever, you have some giant orc boss. And all the grots are like, even the red gobbo, he's just like, oh, shit. Didn't prepare for this. You see the silhouette of some giant fucking iron claw on the side of this orc's form, silhouetted. And they're all just like, ah, shit. And then, like, cut to black, but it is like black screen or panels, and you just see the sound effects, blah, 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 blah. Maybe a couple of, like, splotches in there of goblins just bursting into green paste. That could be fun! As you may be aware, I recently took part in a group exhibition all about Akira. I might have mentioned it once or twice. While there, that happened as of recording the weekend just gone. It was good. It was good fun. You know, hanging out, put up some artwork, looked at some artwork, and there was a lot of cool artwork there. There was a lot of really cool artists. I met some new people, met some old faces. It was a good time. Whilst there, I got these. I will show you now. I'm tearing them to pieces, which is really cool because they're essentially original artworks. But got these. Now, the super fans, the ones of you who, you know, have stuck around through thick and fucking thin, might recognise some of this as the work of Lobster Robin. Lobster Robin, boo, boo, boo. He was there. He was part of the fucking Akira exhibition. His pieces were really, really cool. He did a couple of paintings. And he came down from Belgium, or up, I guess, from Belgia. Which is cool. You know, the guy who set up the exhibition also set up the MF Doom exhibition. He asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I was like, yeah, sure, I guess. But then I found out Lobster Robin was going to be a part of it also, and I was like, okay, yep, I'm in, definitely. See, me and Lobster Robin been friends online for quite some time now, and you know, we've done a couple of collaborations and a bit of this, bit of that. You know, sending each other little love heart emojis through the DMs. But we've sort of, like, our paths have like almost crossed a couple of times, but just we've never quite been able to fully conjoin plans and meet in person. But we were able to do this exhibition, which is really, really cool. I gave him a bunch of sketches that he can, like, do a bunch of shit with, and from my suggestion, I said, oh, hey, by the way, when you come down, bring some sketches that you don't mind tossing away, and I'll, like, I don't know, trace them, paint over them, or paint directly over them, or whatever. So he gave me these, and then he did the same, like I say. So these are cool. Some little, like, you know, Lobster Robin, fucking little this guy. He's fucking weird. I could definitely paint this. You know, I could paint all of them. I really like the little guy who sat on his head. That's really funny. But you know, these ones are like, they're almost already done. I could still trace and paint over them, or paint directly on top of them, whatever. But certainly the ones with no colour in, it's like, well, that's just asking to have me fucking colour them in, innit? Some other ones, a funny monkey. Oh, we like monkeys. Monkeys are fun. Penis. It says penis. It's perfect. It's like it was drawn just for me. I really like his characters and his, like, lines. I like his lines. He uses really good lines. I like his mixture of lines as well, like fine lines and then thicker lines and all kinds of shit. I don't want to spend too long looking at these because I got some other shit to show you. More monkey action, more of a baboon, but still monkey. This is really cool. I like the shapes. Those would be fun to paint, almost a challenge to paint. And that's like almost a cross between. This is almost a cross between two of these. I don't know if you can see the light pencil lines. But I think it's got like a baboon face with more of a body like this. That's cool. Maybe I could take that and, like, run with it. Run it into the ground and ruin it. And then there's this one. I think these are all paint colours. I assume, I don't know, do they speak Belgic in Belgian or Dutch or something? Some of these I think I can figure out, like Groen Blauw. That's got to be like green blue, like a turquoise. Patina Groen, something green maybe. Turquoise Blauw, I guess that's turquoise blue. Green blue, turquoise blue. Telemagenta. Magenta has got to be like a pinkish. Magenta, it's magenta. Pastel Orange. Orange. Pastel orange, that's got to be that. Ochre Geel. Maybe that's like a ochre yellow kind of thing. Kiesel Gris. Gris. That's got to be grey. Kiesel is maybe like light or dark or something. I don't know. That's cool. But then there's that, and that's where is it? I do have. He mentioned that this is this is his art book, which is now one of my favourite art books because it's, as far as art books go, it's frankly pretty fucking phenomenal. And there it is. It's in the book, and I've got the original fucking drawing. Maybe I'll ruin it. Well, I'll just paint over it and be like, this is how it should look. But no, I'll probably keep this one nice. Maybe I'll even slice it off here, put it in a frame. I might not, but I might. While we were, so the Thursday evening we hung up our work, and then we hung out with a bunch of other artists. We went to a pub, just chilled, hung out, had our sketchbooks out, and we were drawing and shit. So he let me look at his sketchbook, and he said it was okay if I did a little video flipping through it. And I'm not going to take that and use it as my own content and look at Lobster Robin's book, but he did say it was okay if I used it as my art book segment of my podcast. So I'm gonna, hopefully this will work. I've got it on, so I've got the video of it on my laptop, and I'm gonna screen record me looking at it while talking about it, and hopefully it all works out. And I'm gonna I don't know if it'll work, but I'll press play on the video right now, and now hopefully you're looking at it and this has worked out. So straight away, what I will say is he showed me that he did this, which I was actually a little bit heart-warmed and honoured by, is that he took my idea of how I do my sketchbooks with two softer, flatter sketchbooks stuck together, and then with a tape spine down the side. He did that. He took my idea and he completely fucking stole it, the piece of shit. It obviously inspired him to do it himself with red tape, which I like. It's quite a nice look to it. I'm a little bit proud, a little bit he liked my idea and he took it, and it's cool. And so that's the cover of his sketchbook, and then so now, this is the sketchbook. Kitsune Jolene or something. A dear friend of his, or intimate partner at one point, or something. Someone. And these, basically every page is like this. It's just cool little drawings of skulls and little characters. I like the baseball guy. He's pretty fun. The skull sort of mushed into the dirt is really, really neat. That one looks like this one here. I can use the cursor to point instead of my wavy hands. That looks like a self-portrait. Maybe this is or isn't. Maybe that's the girl from before. And a cow! I like the cow. The cow with the LR, Lobster Robin, in its splotchy blops. That's a really, really neat little drawing. More drawings of things. Those are cool. I like the colours and the shadow in this bunny girl, and similar shadows in the drawing of this girl here. It's a cool horse face. Horses are not easy to draw. It's easy. Well, it's not that they're difficult to draw, but it's easy to fuck them up. Really cool frogs. I assume these are drawn from reference. There's a chance they're not, but I assume they are. That turquoise one especially, I love the shapes in that turquoise one. It reminds me a little bit of the Soul Reaver painting I did recently, just because it's knees are up to the sides and its arms are like that. I love the shapes and the flat head and the pointy nose just sticking out. That's really, really cool. Shapes and colours, and the pink sort of fading into the teal turquoise kind of colour is really, really nice. And this is just a good big grey boy, a big bulbous boy, and the pink eye as well. I really like the pink eye. He's got pink eye. A painting of some guy. I don't know if it's of someone or if it's just out of his imagination. It looks like an imaginary face, but it's a cool painting. Quite a cool ghostly painting. One of those ones that makes the paper all thick. You can see it's sort of warped there. There were words here where it's above here where it said these were drawn from a specific Batman thing. But those are really cool drawings. I like the chunkiness of it all. The shadows are really, really cool. like it's not much shadow here on the Batman, but that's really cool shadow, and really cool shadow here on the Mr. Freeze. Yeah, some cool little referenced Batman drawings. A couple of cool little heads. Zzz. Another cool head, a cool angle, quite a difficult one to draw. And I love the like big bold outline around it and then the thin lines all inside. There's something very visually pleasing about that image as a whole. I like that one. A really cool manic laughing face. A cool like Joker smile in pencil there. And just some cool fun little, yeah, just character doodles. The angle of that head is really cool. This little guy's fun. I think I've drawn things like this before with like the head sort of split apart. That will happen a few times where I'm like, oh, I've done this and I've done that. But that's just because we're all artists and we all experiment and we sort of like, you know, copy and steal ideas from not each other necessarily, but everywhere else. Frog with an umbrella. He likes frogs, apparently. I don't know. He draws quite a few of them. Draws, paints, whatever. He does them well, though. I like they just got like human hands as well. That's pretty dope. Is it? I don't know. It's all right. Bunnies. Some cool bunnies. I like that this looks like it's just drawn quickly in like marker or Posca pen or whatever. But it's a cool, there's a lot of character in that. Because it's not like, you know, I could just draw a bunny head, but there's a lot of like life and character just in that one drawing. That's really cool. Me struggling to turn pages because I'm fucking inept. And also, you know, trying to use my left hand to turn pages in a sketchbook while recording it's a whole fucking thing. I like this wolf head. That's really, really, really cool. I love the shape of it. Like it's almost, you know, how I would draw like the outline of a skull and then just fill in the rest of the details. But there's a fucking wolf head. It's really cool. And then just, you know, some sketches and stuff in pencil. What do we say to pencils? We say puh, puh. Fucking come on, Robin, you're better than that. You're better than pencils. I love this spread because it looks like, you know, one of those just fun messing around in your sketchbook spreads. Just guy and shape. And I love the shape because it's a shape I use quite a lot where I would like draw my little silly pink naked man and then, you know, like one giant arm in almost this exact position with that kind of hand. Yeah, but that's a really, like, there's not much going on, obviously, but it's a really nice, like, sketchbook spread. And that hand's really, really good. Like, that's a really nicely drawn hand just in, 2 marker pens with the little LR on it. I love that R as well, the sort of segmented almost. But yeah, like a really nice little spread of sketchbook page. I like the skull. I like the little like dashes indicating the teeth, not drawing the teeth, but just indicating where the gaps between them are. And then sat on the dirt is really nice. And then coming down to this skull with the rib cage in the dirt, the little L and R floating above it, really nice. I love this little slug boy, little horrible, little nasty, smiley, funny. Well, not really smiley, but he actually looks horrified. But this funny little slug boy, he's cool. I like the lettering. It's like, it looks like graffiti lettering, but not like graffiti lettering. And I like how sort of bulky and blobby it looks. Is very, very fun, chunky lettering. Again, his use of lines and different lines in different places is really enjoyable to look at. I like these things around here. Not to be like, oh, I did that before. But I did that before. Because they're just fun to do. Like sometimes, you know, you'll have your marker and you'll be trying to get it to work. So you'll just do a scribble. Or you'll just do a scribble without thinking about it. Or you'll do a scribble on purpose. And then, once it's dry, you outline it in a finer pen. And you get these kind of like weird shapes. Especially if you not just outline it, but like try to turn each line into like a tube almost, going behind and in front of different parts of it, adding like little bits of shadow and stuff. You do get some like cool, fun and interesting forms out of that sort of stuff. I've also done it with like, you know, marker tags. Like you just use a highlighter or a marker, just do a tag, you know, like a grapher's writer's tag, and then outline it and, you know, add little blobs and bits and shadows and stuff. And it can make for some really, really nice little like almost sculpture-looking pieces. A couple more here, like the scribbles here. Just did this pink scribbles on this woman's cheeks and then outlined them in a fine liner. It was really good. And I like these characters too. And this is something where it's like it's smart and it's a really good way of just adding something, because I can draw a character, but it can just be like, okay, cool, I guess, whatever, like that's fun. But as soon as you, like, for instance, have them standing on like a little car or a truck, it adds like a whole new element of movement, obviously, but also of like storytelling and characterization to the character as a whole. And it's those sorts of like small things that I don't tend to think about. I just draw character, but it's like if you just draw like one more element, it can add a great deal to a character. I also really like the colours, like the muted grey tones. Even the green and browns are quite muted, but then the yellows just sort of add to it and make it pop. I really like the yellow/orange glasses on this guy and his little yellow too. Yeah, those are really, really fun characters. There's another one, a giant one. And this is a good example, I guess, of just an artist just fucking around in their sketchbook. Like maybe that was somewhat an accident, maybe it was more on purpose, he was actually going for something, but still, just seemingly random paint marks, and then you use other paint to add form to them, and it makes for just like a nice page. I could, for instance, this sort of stuff would be way more interesting to me as abstract art than most abstract art that you see, because it's like abstract art that's been purposefully drawn, and there's just, you know, something a bit more special about it than just paint fucking spooged across a canvas or whatever. The middle part, this is where I feel like he outdid me a little bit in terms of sketchbook construction. I assume he put this paper in here between the two sketchbooks, whereas mine, I just glued the two back pages together. And in that respect, I lost 2 pages of my sketchbook. But here he's kept those 2 pages by spreading them apart using a separate piece of paper, and the fact that it's a different color, like it's a toned paper, adds something to it as well. It makes a really nice sort of like central point of the book. The fact that it's upside down, you know, that's, come on, what are you doing, you fucking idiot, put it the right way out. But it's cool also, you know, the colours and stuff. I like pink, and I like the contrast between the pinks and the blues and the toned paper and the thing, and it's, you know, a cool character and fucking whatever. Shut up. These are really, really cool. This is where I get the impression that he sort of had his the idea in his head of like guy in hoodie and his face is hidden, and then he just did a few versions of that. And I really like the arm placement, because that's another thing I've done as well. Just messing around with like where you put the arms on the body can really change like the character as a whole, can make them look like a whole different type of character. So that's quite cool. And I love the big puffy body and the tiny skinny legs. He's not put like insane amounts of detail, but there's enough detail in that sneaker to just be like, you can almost know exactly what type of sneaker that is. I think it's an Adidas, not a Flux, but I think like the ones that came out after the Fluxes. But yeah, a really, really nice little bit of detail. Cool shadows, cool just drawings, cool shapes. More of those like marker lines outlined and stuff. Pretty cool. Gas mask. I like gas mask. Gas mask, good. Almost failing to turn the pages again. Funny little fat samurai guys. Those are pretty fun. Cool. Boxes. Cool letters. I like these letters. I like that there, because it's got a lot of structure, these ones. All these up and down bars here, they all sort of lean slightly back and to the left. You know, like JFK's head. And then missing out the E, so it's just lobster. But yeah, really nice letters, nice shapes and shit. Even like the colours aren't anything extravagant or special, but there's a pretty nice little scribbly little dub, I guess they call it. Just a 2-colour thing. Cool skeleton bots, giving a finger here. I was going to say previously, I meant to say actually before coming up on this page, that I think something that would look really cool in Lobster Robin's style would be Death Fist. I'm not suggesting, because chances are Robin may watch this at some point, if not sooner than later. So I'm not saying you should draw Death Fist, Robin, but if Robin ever were to draw Death Fist, I think it would look really cool. And then I was supposed to say that before and then turn to this page and be like, see, look, the skulls, it's perfect. Death Fist and the thing, and fist, death, it fits. I just think there is even the possibility that he could draw Death Fist and it would look way better than my version of Death Fist. So maybe he fucking shouldn't. Maybe he should stick to his lane and watch me fail to turn pages again and again and again. That's cool. I like the mixture of bold and thin lines. And then he's got these like headphone helmets that he starts doing. He just, I guess, had them in his head and had to get them on the page. Good shapes. I like the big wide shoulders and the big chunky hands. Those are fun. That's a cool page. I also kind of love / hate that every page is like a finished drawing, more or less. You know, you get bits like this where it's not quite finished. But for the most part, you know, because my sketchbooks, even if I try at the start to have them as like a sketchbook full of like finished drawings, it lasts 2 or 3 pages and then it's just full of scribbled mess. Just shit and nonsense, as always. Whereas this sketchbook is almost flawlessly just like finished little character drawings on every single page, and it's aggravating. It's impressive and it's fun to look at, but it is a little bit annoying. Love this rabbit. I wonder how much reference was used, or if he'd previously drawn enough rabbits to have the reference in his head, because the shapes are so, not to be redundant, but so rabbit-like. And I'm not quite this one in particular, but I love this angle here of like the spine going into the hip. Like that angle there is really nice, going down into the leg, and then the feet, the way the feet are sort of layered on top of each other, similar with the ears in shadow in the back. And it's all very chunky and gloopy, and the drips are very nice. The head, the shapes in the head and the muzzle and everything is really, really good. Floating hats are always cool. Yeah, just a really sort of almost annoyingly good drawing of a rabbit. And this is something he does now and again. These like few lines here, almost like shadow, but like almost the opposite of hatching, where hatching you bring lines in from the shadow to the lighter areas, where this like has lines running parallel to the shadow and then fewer the further away from the shadow you get. Not quite sure if that sort of style has as a name, but it's quite a good one, and it's one you see pop up now and again in Lobster Robin's work. Another one of these painting things. Now this one, I wonder if it is supposed to be like an L and an R. I don't think it is. I think it's just random shapes, but if I force myself to find an L and an R in here, I can. But it does, you know, that is forcing it a bit. I think it's just another cool, fun little experimentation. And that sort of shit is just fun to do sometimes. Like, it's cool to draw funny little characters and skulls and animals and stuff. But sometimes it's fun to just make some marks and turn them into nothing, but it looks cool. It's just fun. It's fun. And that's what art should be. It should be fun, shouldn't it? Sometime, maybe it shouldn't. I like this. I like the split head anyway, but I also like it even more because it's like across a couple of pages. That's really cool. Little neat thing. This guy's funny. What's he doing? He looks like a sailor or something. Rocks or clouds or something. I don't know. Cool textures, cool forms, cool shit. Here he's got a completely different pen. It's one of those like the nib is almost like a blade, like it's a wedge blade kind of thing. So you use the flat edge and you get these like thicker lines, and then you use like the blade edge and you get these super, super thin lines. Ashley Wood uses these pens quite a lot, which is cool because, well, not cool because Ashley Wood uses them, but it's cool to see Robin use them suddenly, because it's like Lobster Robin's like skulls and characters, but they look like a different style almost, but it's the same style, but it's different, but it's the same. This is a really cool character. I love this drawing. I think it's a really neat little design. Like the colours, he's got a really good use of colour. Like the pink and green goes together with the flesh. It looks like it could be a little self-portrait. It's got his little moustache and his purse that he carries around. Yeah, it's a really neat little character. And again, as same as everything, good lines, good little shadows, and clean and crisp, but with a little bit of like grit and dirt to it as well. I like that. And this is actually one of the few pages where I get the sense that he had an idea for a drawing and then didn't necessarily carry it on. So this looks like it could be a really rough for like an idea of a painting. Just guy head and then blotches, just a quick little thing that could be a painting. And this looks like another step from that, but it's more conceptual because it's like his eyes are like the fish's eyes floating in front of his head, where that looks more like a rough idea than a lot of other pieces in his book, which is quite cool. And I don't think I've seen that used anywhere, so that could be like, yeah, just super rough idea discarded. But ultimately, I'm talking garbage, and I don't know, and I'm struggling to turn the god fucking damn it pages. Love this piece. I like the colours. Obviously, I really like the marker colours, just cool, whatever. And then the pink like fluorescent highlighter in amongst them is really really cool. I like the blue skin. That's quite a different thing. You don't see that too often. With the Japanese coat kind of thing, and then where he's moving into these like sci-fi cyberpunk helmet things with the spray can giving its little pfft, and he's like sinking into the ground. Yeah, that's just a really neat, nice little piece. The LNR in the background. No thanks, he doesn't want any. I like this drawn with that other pen. I like the dismembered parts, the disconnected body parts. That's another thing I do now and again, just out of the fun of it all. Just why draw a neck when you can just draw the head floating? Love this Bart. This Bart might be one of my favourite pieces in this sketchbook. This is a really cool Bart. It's almost a spooky horror Bart with like his face looks kind of doomed. Using that pen again for that drawing. That's cool. But this Bart is such a cool like characterized version of the typical Bart. The little graffiti's cool, little spray can, little slingshot. I like his googly eyes going in different directions, and the creases in his shirt and shorts and little bits of shadow, the different lines. The hair is cool. It's not just the typical like, even if I draw like a different version of Bart, I usually just go with spiky hair, but he's got like almost like Super Saiyan hair or whatever. Yeah, really like that Bart. It's actually another one that's just annoying. Like, it's annoying how good that Bart is, where it makes me think like, fuck, why haven't I drawn Bart like that? But I draw Bart in my own way. I'm my own person. I'm my own artist. Lobster Robin can go fuck himself with his stupid little Bart. This is a really cool page. I like it when it's different things, but they all link together in terms of like here theme and color scheme. The colors fit together really nicely. I like a teal / turquoise kind of bluish skin on each of them. The suits are really cool. I like this guy because his face looks almost in pain, like it's scrunched up into that helmet. Really nice, like chunky lines all over the place. And then this is, a more rounded character drawing, which is really cool. And then this funny little floating guy here, like a mini character. And they've all got those sci-fi helmets and goggles. Yeah, really nice spread of pages. Little duck split in half. I don't know if these are supposed to be guts or just random gloop coming out, but either way, I really like it. And another thing I've said time and time again is I always think like I should draw more animals as characters, more funny little cartoon animals, more animals in general. I think it could potentially add a lot to my work, where I tend to get bogged down in funny drawings of people, skulls and goblins, and that's about it. Flesh bobs sometimes. I think if I start doing more animal stuff, and I've tried now and again with like lizards and things, but I don't know. I ruined this spread because after looking through it, I drew, because he drew in my sketchbook, so I drew in his. I drew a picture here of like a similar kind of guy in ballpoint, but he was naked, but apart from socks, and then he had another sock hanging off his dick, and he had kind of one of these helmets on. Just something, I'm glad I flipped through the book before I added that in though, because would have been embarrassing, because I feel like I ruined his book by adding that. Anyway, but this is really cool character, almost like concept art level sort of stuff, where like the style of outfit is really cool, the helmet's cool, the colours fit together really nicely. The hands are really well drawn. I like the creases in all the materials is really, really good. The flow of it all, the stance. Like, that's just a really fucking cool drawing. I really like that. And that's a really decent little character piece. The solidity sort of feeling of that helmet is really good. It reminds me of when people draw, like, little drawings of spaceships and things, and they don't need to draw every part of it, but they draw enough of, like, the shape of it to really give a good sort of, like, feel of a spaceship. And that helmet sort of echoes that. Just some rough pencils, and I think that's the end. Yeah, man. That's a really, really cool sketchbook. Again, you can see where he's sort of stolen my idea, but I'm not mad about it. And that's that. Quack quack, motherfuckers. It really does feel like every goddamn time I look at, like, the work of another artist that I really like, and then I go back to my own drawings and I just think, like, oh, god damn it, why can't I draw? And I know that's silly, you can draw, you, and you're very good, but it's the same thing every time. It's like, oh, but I want to draw like this person now. I'm sick of drawing like me. I want to draw like Lobster Robin. I want to draw like Simon Bisley. I want to draw like fucking whoever else, Mike Mignola. So if you happen to see suddenly, as I'm drawing this, the lines start to look a bit reminiscent of, like, Lobster Robin's lines, then you know why. I should be able to make that not happen, but I'm just saying it might happen is all. That's supposed to be snot coming out of his nose, but I forgot to colour it in. Obviously I can colour it in still. There's time. There's no deadline for this piece, but I was really happy with the shape of this one. I like the shape of, like, his head and his mouth being open and stuff. And I mean, any excuse to draw goblins, I'll take it. And it really is one of those things. It's like, I'd love to have at some point had the chance to work in, like, the art department for Games Workshop, but only drawing very specific things. Like, anytime they needed, maybe orcs, but mostly just goblins drawn, then I'd be like, they'd say, call the goblin guy, get Ewan in here. We've got a new goblin character coming out. Where's Ewan? But, of course, it's all digital art these days, isn't it? Ugh, there's no room for people like me anymore. I'll make my own game company with blackjack and hookers. And I don't even play blackjack. Yeah, I do. No, I don't. I don't play it. I know how to play it, but I don't play it. I don't play cards typically. I don't really care. Things like basic typical card games like blackjack and poker, I find uninteresting. Things like chess, like, just just don't appeal to me. They're just so dull when I think about them. Like, ooh, chess. Well, where's the goblins? How can you play a game with no goblins in it? That's why I want to make my own card game that has goblins in it. Oddly enough, though, Ox, OX, whatever you want to call it, my card game that will maybe someday be in the works, doesn't have any goblins in it. So there you go. I need to play test it to, like, sort through a few things and sort out some rules and stuff. And that's another thing that I need to sort out about it is get some fucking goblins in there, Ewan, you idiot. What are you doing? Where's all the goblins? How can you play this game if there's no fucking goblins in it? Do 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 do. Not much else to report at the moment. Oh, actually, I will. Where are they? Oh, they're right here. How convenient. How fucking convenient. I do have. Oh, one got a bit mushed. I do have these. I got about 50 left. I took a handful to the show, the exhibition, but I did get these printed. Specifically, these were literally made for you, people. Not all of you, but specifically you on Patreon. I'm not making it official yet. I will make a specific Patreon post and then I will announce it on Instagram when I am ready to get through it all. But for now, if you are watching this and you haven't seen it announced elsewhere, please do feel free, send me a message on Patreon. Go to, I don't know how it works, go to the Patreon messaging system and send me a message on Patreon and say, Ewan, I'd like one of those fucking Akira prints. Send me a Tetsuo print. And you'll get one for free. Just like the stickers. Basically, yeah, it's just like the free stickers, but it's a free print. Decent sort of quality, thick paper, thin card, whatever. I'll sign them. They're not going to be numbered because I don't fucking care. But, yeah, these are available for free. I got these printed to send them to you for free. Just mini prints. I did mention the fact that I'm doing this, so it's not really new news. Part of the reason they're mini is just because they're cheaper to send to every country. At this size, I don't need to fill out a customs form for other countries, whereas if they were just like A4, I would need to. But also, it's less expensive for me to produce fucking 50 or so full size, bigger prints. But whatever, yeah, so that's, fucking, yeah, you can... Yeah, right now, if you're watching this on Patreon, send me a message and say you'd like one, and then I'll send you one. But I mean, the reason I say I'm not making it official just yet is because I am this week trying to get through all the sending out all the copies of Death Fist, the teaser, which people have been ordering, which I'm very, very thankful for. So if you have ordered a copy of the Death Fist teaser, thank you. The fact that enough people ordered it was the reason I was able to even get it printed in the first place. I was a little bit worried. It's always the case, but like, as soon as I put something up for sale and I announce that it's for sale, after a little while I get like 2 or 3 sales, and I'm like, oof, this isn't going well. But then, give it a minute. Some more sales come in and I'm like, okay, cool. So now X amount of people have ordered it, which means I can afford to get it printed. Then a few more people order it and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So it's sort of paying for itself. I'm not really making any money off of the Death Fist teaser, but that's really not the point. Also, I'll be sending a bunch of out to publishers. I'll send it to Cartoonist Kayfabe. Not that they've been showing other people's work. I don't think they feel it's necessarily in their best interests to do that so much these days, which is fine. It's their prerogative or whatever. The fact that they showed Gun Viking and spoke positively about it is still something I'm very happy about. So I've got that much at least. But yeah, I'll be sending Death Fist out to, everywhere. It will hopefully be available in a couple of comic shops in London that should take it, because they usually take a lot of garbage. Which, not to shit on anyone, but you go to like the small press independently published section of certain comic book shops and you look at the stuff available and you just go, eh. But at the same time, with me saying that like an arsehole, like an absolute piece of shit, I shouldn't say shit like that. It's people making stuff, even if it's not to my taste. If I don't deem it good, then it's still, people are making stuff and putting it out there, so it's a good thing. It's good that happens still. That it's not all just fucking Marvel and DC or whatever. We need it. We need people making their own shit. It's hugely important and necessary. But it would be nicer if it was good. Oh, Ewan, you are incorrigible. What? You're a cunt. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. Get my words mixed up sometimes. I mispronunciate a lot of my worms. It's funny. So I want to get his gun done. I'm going to see if I can do like a kind of rust effect on his gun. Like add some brown to the grey and then some black to the tip, so it looks like it's burnt and, oh yeah, it'd be more burnt, charred rather than rusted. But yeah, that kind of brown tinge to the metal of the gun. It's always a fun effect if you can get it to work. I can do it with paint, I know that much. I don't think I've tried to do it with Posca. I'm sure I can get it done, but it's one of those things that it just can be really, really effective to get it in. Because if you look at the picture of the Red Gobbo, I believe his gun is, I don't know, burnt or tarnished or whatever at the muzzle. So we will attempt to recreate that in some kind of way, if we can. I don't know if there is any relevance to the star on the Red Gobbo. He has like a star medal here and a big red star on his gun. Well, I guess the star you can paint it whatever colour you want when you get the model, but the officially painted Games Workshop version has a red star. And I have seen, I did see versions of the Red Gobbo as like, you know, a communist, like a Marxist, which I'm in favour of. I go by the line in the Jest song. I see red, think left. My mindset's Marxist. Overstand them or get past this. More talk and less carnage. Calm and peace. The future's bright. The future's the mark of the beast. And the devil with the smile is easily the hardest to beat, yo. I'm here carving my niche so I stand out from the damn crowd at the freak shows. Yeah, Marxism's all right in my book. Certainly better than fucking capitalism, the system we toil under today. If you disagree, fuck you. You're an idiot. I was going somewhere with something I was saying. Yeah, I saw some people drew or painted up the Red Gobbo as like, you know, communist with like the Russian big fuzzy hat and everything. There is an official, I guess, licensed version of him that's like Santa Claus, which is quite funny, like a Santa Red Gobbo, which is quite neat, quite funny. Get his little snot bubble in there. Pot doubles. Now they really got troubles. Mad men never go like snot bubbles. God, I really fucked up the fucking pop sound effect, didn't I? The pot doubles. Now they really got troubles. Mad men never go. Fucking hell. Alright, we're not leaving until I get that sound effect right. I've got a second white pen to see if it works better. The pot doubles. Now they really got troubles. Mad men never go like snot bubbles. Hey, that was a good one. I had to use the old slap of the mouth for that one instead of the before used lip pop. That's from Mad Villain, from all caps by Mad Villain, MF Doom and Mad Lib. I'm sure you knew that already. I'm sure you don't need me to fucking go on and on explaining this is from that and that's from this. This is a reference to this thing and that's a reference to this other thing. Fucking shut up, Ewan. We get it. Right, so we got the grey. You throw the brown in there. And then we'll throw a bit more grey into the brown to try to sort of mix them a bit. It's all about layers, yeah. Getting them fucking layers in. And we'll go some brown in here and then do that with the red. Get a bit of darker sort of texture into the red star instead of it just being bright fucking red. Just little bits of texture and things, different kind of like, you know, just like lobster robbing, different widths of lines. Just adds a little bit of whatever to it. Adds something, I think. Should we put some turquoise in that snot? Should we put some yellow in that snot? Maybe yellow would be better than turquoise. I mean, that looks alright. Certainly not terrible. Yeah, a bit more yellowy snot. That's sort of how it should look, innit? A bit more phlegm-like. Cut back in. Grey, smooge it a bit. So it blends, question mark? I really don't need to say question mark, do I? I think you understand that there's a question mark there. Let's get some like little bits of shadow underneath the star. So it looks like an actual sort of object on the gun instead of it being painted onto the gun. Because again, on the model, I think the star is like a thing slightly raised up from the body of the gun rather than painted on. Now there's also the trouble of trying to make this, because this is supposed to be a round barrel. This is like a blocky, you know, body of the gun, but then the barrel is supposed to be round with these holes in it. So trying to make it look round with Posca pens be a little bit of a challenge, I think. I don't know if I've done any of this successfully. I might have to, use the brown over the black. Oh, I'm just fucking it up, aren't I? Ooh, that's all part of fun. It's all part of the creative process, yeah. You can see I'm speeding through this bit. I'm aware I've run out of shit to say. This has gone on long enough. I think we're about done, but I want to, get this to a point where I can, if not call it finished, at least say that's finished for now. I've done enough for now, but not quite there yet. I'm working on things that I can't even really talk about at the moment anyway. I'm working on some commissions which you'll see them as and when I post them. Some of the commissions actually, because I did those Earthworm Jim paintings, and I put them up for sale. A lot of people, they only wanted the paintings of Jim, not the other characters. Some of the other characters did sell, which is cool. It's useful. I can eat if people buy my shit. But a lot of people were like, "Oh, which ones are left?" And I said these characters, and they were like, "Oh, I really wanted one of the Jim paintings." So many people said that, and I told basically each of them that I'm available for commissions. If you want me to paint a Jim painting for you, I'll paint an Earthworm Jim painting for you. And some of them were like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Please do." So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got to draw and paint 5 separate pictures of Earthworm Jim for people. So that's something. And it just so happens that one of them, the one with the green background, the reel I did where I, showed the process of me painting that, has weirdly blown up. It exploded and my phone died because of it. Ha! Only joking. No. It just got a weird amount of attention. A lot of people seem to like it, and I've got a lot of followers just off of that reel. A lot of quite big name followers as well, like some really big name artists and other people who I just wouldn't expect to follow me at all. Sort of saw that reel. Some of them commented on it saying, "Hey, this is great." Some of them, followed me from that reel because it tells you if they follow you from the reel. So that it's done weird numbers for me, which is good, obviously. It's just unexpected. I didn't realise. I know people like Earthworm Jim, but I didn't realise he had that kind of pull and that kind of audience appeal to him. So now I'm just going to do loads and loads of Earthworm Jim, and hopefully it'll bring loads and loads of new followers in. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about follower counts. If you don't have loads of followers, you'll never